by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly.
All right. Good morning, everyone.
Hi.
I'd like to bring to order this Downtown Development Authority Board Member meeting on Wednesday, July 10th, 2024 at 8:32. First order of business are the May 8th, 2024 minutes. They were in our packets. Are there any corrections or comments? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Motion carries. Third on the list, MDOT agreement approval. Mr. Keller.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a quick note, since it is the beginning of our new fiscal new year, no financials this month, but we'll probably have those August, we think. Tricia gave me the, yep. So just a heads up on that. And then first action item for you this morning, hopefully we'll be bringing in some money before we spend some more. MDOT is proposing to do a project on the S-curve in early 2025 in order to access that portion of the freeway. They've asked us to basically rent out some parking spaces in the area 6A. So they have agreed to pay us an amount not to exceed $24,100, and in order to approve that, we need your sign off. So happy to take any questions.
All right, money in. Yes.
Just for the question, I assume that that's Was this in the black for the lost parking spaces during that relatively short period of time?
Yes, that's right. Yep, and the remainder of the parking lot would be open.
Any other questions? All right. I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Support.
All right. Any other comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you. Next, downtown summer security. Mr. Elledge, good morning.
Fortunately, I don't have any items that will be bringing any money in. So
All right, thank you.
I'm here to spend your money.
Yeah.
So the first item is downtown summer security. So really quick, if you recall, a couple of years ago in 22, we did a pilot program in partnership with the city and added some uniform security to patrolling sort of center city downtown in response to some opportunities and challenges that came up, specifically around the Skywalk, Campbell Promenade, and some issues on Monroe Center. That pilot went really well, and we instituted a full-scale security program last summer, basically looking to replicate that program again this summer. The dates would be July 1st, give or take, through the end of Art Prize, just to continue to have additional eyes and ears on the street. We did bid out these services to 5 local security companies and got 4 bids back, so that was really good. We selected Phoenix Security, who had provided this service to us both in 22 and 23. We heard very positive reports about Phoenix, had a really good working relationship with them, and they came recommended to us by the police department as well. The ask before you is for $60,000, not to exceed that amount. It includes a small contingency should we decide to add security officers or extend beyond the contract dates. We are asking for the full amount because the DDA will be the contract holder, but the 50% of the cost will be reimbursed by the city. With that, I'm happy to take any questions you might have.
Mayor?
Thanks. I'm glad to see this. I thought they did a great job, and I'm glad it's Phoenix. I'm curious, can you remind me the days and hours?
Yeah, got them right here. So the officers will be working Tuesday through Friday from noon to 7. And we have 2 officers on at any given time. And then Thursday through Saturday, they'll also be working from 7 p.m. to 3 a.m. And during Friday and Saturdays, we'll have 2 additional officers on. So we'll have 4 officers on Friday and Saturday night, and then 2 officers on from noon to 7, or noon to 3 a.m. Every day, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And then, geez, this is very confusing. Very sorry. Let me start over. So 2 officers, noon to 7, Tuesday through Friday. 2 more officers will come on at 7 till 3 a.m., and then we'll also have 2 additional officers from 7 p.m. to 3 a.m. If you understood any of that, congratulations.
Yes, we're doubled up on the weekends,
Yes.
in the evenings. Perfect. And then my second question is, I know last year there was a certain area that they patrolled.
Yep.
And they did kind of like a circular. They stopped in and talked to business owners. Are we going to expand it this year to include a portion of Ottawa over by Studio Park?
So we did. We did extend their service area a little bit. So we asked them to patrol a little bit beyond the Blue Bridge on the west side. Last year they were kind of going to and sort of patrolling the bridge. And then, we asked them to extend over to Ottawa to cover this. To cover the Studio Park
Where it's busy
area.
on the weekends.
Yeah,
Okay.
yep.
Okay, great. Thanks.
And maybe just to add on that, I think one of the things we like about Phoenix is they're very flexible. So
Yeah.
as events are happening or we know there's going to be a crowd of people, we can direct them
Yep.
to change up their schedule. And then the other point was just that schedule that we've built with them is based on the first 2 years. So it's sort of a little quieter during the early part of the week. And then obviously for the
Yep.
weekends it's busier. So
Great.
they've been great to work with.
Yeah, they have very good partners.
Yes.
What is the contract, sir? I'm confused by summer. So have they been working already this summer?
So we have a short bridge contract
Okay.
in place right now to get us to this point.
Got it.
So they started July 1.
Perfect.
Because we wanted to make sure we had them in place for the fireworks on Saturday.
Okay.
And then they'll go through the end of our prize. So this contract will start up once the bridge contract ends. So give us some time to get our ducks in a row.
Great, thank you.
Anything else? Yes?
Do we have a view in terms of the long-term use of this? I mean, is this going to be an annual reoccurring expense? Is this for a period of time? Like, what's the sort of long-term view of this as a solution for what it's addressing?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I know, like, going forward, when we were doing budgeting stuff for this fiscal year, it was something we talked about. We definitely made sure that there was money in the budget to do this, and it sounds like the city also is committed to keeping this going, at least for the foreseeable future. So I think this will be something we probably continue as far as I can see out. Whether it changes or how it changes, I think, is sort of up to how the program continues to run and what sort of response we get to it.
Well, I was just going to say, I think we are in close coordination with the police department as well. I know they've been hiring and are having, onboarding, so I think we also will, it'll depend on how that work is happening as well, but I think as they're able to bring more officers to downtown, we could maybe phase the program out.
And Chief has made some changes and reinstituted having a team just for downtown. So he made quite a few changes to the patrol areas. And now there's a dedicated group that's downtown. So hopefully you've seen greater police presence downtown, especially over the last 6 to 8 months. But we just hired, we had a group of 14 that were sworn in about a week ago. And we have another class right now. Chief is really hoping by the end of the year that we're at full staffing levels. And we've gotten a few lateral moves as well, so individuals with some significant experience from other departments, which is nice because then their onboarding is shorter. So he's doing a great job. And I think it should be reassessed, although I know that the officers appreciate having other eyes on the street in the summer.
Anything else? All right. I would entertain a motion to approve the $60,000. All right. Any other comments or questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Motion carries. Thank you. Next, our
Chair,
favorite.
Can I ask one other
Yes.
question? Tim, and this is probably for Tim more than Melvin. One other question. I know last year we also used the county mounted unit on the weekends. Is that going to be reinstated? Or maybe it's for Al.
Yeah, startup. Yeah, we are doing that in partnership with.
And will it go through all the way to September again through Art Price? Okay, good. Good.
Good question.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Al, for your help with that.
You delayed our favorite subject, though. Flower planting.
Good morning again, everybody. Here to talk about beautification and maintenance. So, as you know, as you've likely seen, we've been planting some flowers. We've continued to plant some flowers. Working with our longtime partner, McCandy Gardens, based out of Hudsonville. They continue to do a great job. I continue to hear lots of comments and positive attributes about their flowers and their plantings. Our ambassador team loves working with them. They're incredibly knowledgeable. Just really quick, we've been partnering with them since 2015. We did a bid out as part of the operations and sort of on-street bid out. When we bid out the ambassador program, we just sort of kind of kept those two closely tied together. We wanted all of those bids to bring in their own sort of flower planting contractor. We selected Block by Block, who had McCandy selected as their continuing partner. Again, we want to continue working with them. The total cost of their services for this coming year is $185,300, which includes a small contingency because stuff dies, stuff comes up. We decide we want to plant something else somewhere else. And then the total request to the DDA is not to exceed $64,300, which we have budgeted in our Goal 3 line item. The remainder of the cost was approved, $115,000, was approved at the last Downtown Improvement District meeting, and then $6,000 will be covered by the Monroe North TIFA for some small plantings that we plant but do not maintain up in the TIFA. Pretty straightforward. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about this, though.
Any questions? All right. Is there a motion to approve?
Support.
All right. Any other comments? All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. That motion carries as well. Next, DDA liquor license 45 Ottawa.
Yeah, the last item I have before you today is for a liquor license at 45 Ottawa for Gimmy's Bar and Grill. I won't belabor too much about it, other than to say that we have Ashley Albert here, one of the principals for Gimmy's Bar, and we'll bring her up, and you can ask her a bunch of questions instead of me, because she'll be able to answer them. So come on up, Ashley.
Morning.
Morning.
Great.
I'll mess that up.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Is this volume okay? Everybody hear me? Okay. Well, thank you so much, Melvin, by the way, for first of all setting this up and having me here and your support. Thanks for putting up with my emails and phone calls. And also thanks to the board for your time. I'll try to keep this short, but I'm also happy to answer any questions that you might have. As Melvin said, we're seeking a liquor license in the DDA area. So what we're setting up is not just a restaurant and bar, but what it's going to be is this trend of eatertainment. I don't know if anybody's heard that term being used lately, but what we're trying to do is bring a fun activity that's indoors year-round to downtown. Now, if anybody is not familiar with indoor golf, or sometimes referred to as off-course golf, what it is a tech-enhanced golf experience where you go indoors, and to be quite honest, this is kind of a good representation of what they look like. They're little bays, basically, where you have a full set of clubs, you take a full swing at a screen just like that. And with the technology, they're able to project where your ball would go. So essentially, you can assume we can play Pebble Beach. You can play in Japan. You can play against people in Japan. In any case, it's a huge trend. The industry is going nowhere but up. The appeal is that, for traditional golf, it's expensive, it takes forever. I don't know how many of you have 6 hours to spare, but anyway, so for golf enthusiasts, this is a fantastic option to go, to run by, take a few shots over lunch, which is a huge, we expect to have a nice lunch crowd. But also what's nice is it takes away the intimidation of traditional golf. I don't know how many of you have gone to country clubs. I'm even a golfer, and I still get nervous walking up to that place. So this allows you to bring your friends, your family, your grandparents, your little kids, and, on a rainy day, take the family out, take your little kids. There's something for everyone. So now what's nice are, as you can see in the top right there, that's a representation of the area that you have to play with. And like I said, it looks just like this. Well, we have soccer. You can play tennis. And of course, there's zombie dodgeball. So not just golf. Now, there's many of these around town. Nothing is close to, I think the closest is about 7 miles from downtown. And most of the places are set up for these bays, and they don't have full bar or kitchens. Most of them do not. And so while they're very successful, we're aiming towards the entire downtown visitor crowd. So you're going downtown, you're going to go to Van Andel. We're about a half a block from there, stop in for a drink, get a quick snack. We have a full menu, very high quality, I would call it upscale bar food. Anyway, so we have the full restaurant. Let me do this here. Let's see there. Well, anyway, first floor, sorry about that. So we have a full restaurant where you can go in. You don't have to go into the bays. You don't have to do anything. You can just stop in. We designed the menu to be fast and quick. So when I'm in line at Van Andel, you have about 20 minutes. You can probably get a drink and a snack before you have to get in there. Oops. And this shows a little bit more of the layout of the bays. As you can see, this is the top floor. There are 9 bays total, 3 of which are enormous, and they are going to be able to cater to large events, private events, corporate training, team building, here and there. So we know that there's always a huge demand for that downtown. So this is kind of a unique experience for neighboring businesses to bring their employees in, especially people flying in. So that's a little bit about the actual entertainment here. The building, if you're not familiar, is the old Davenport building. It's a 2-story standalone. It actually has the 2023 Art Prize Grand Prize winning mural on it, which we were just so lucky to have a muralist come in who was so talented, but they actually won the whole thing. So it was a major coup. But anyway, we're adjacent to the Graham, to Van Andel, to GLC Live. So what we're hoping to do is be a must-stop for anybody visiting the downtown area. West Michigan, especially Grand Rapids, has so many amazing attractions. We just think that this, it's a cutting edge, more of a modernized entertainment option with a quality menu that we think that it's just going to draw more tourists to the area and especially outside investment. So let me see here. See, operating hours, it'll be open 7 days a week till 11:45 most nights. Through the operating hours, it's about 2,400 working hours a week, which is about 60 full-time equivalent jobs that it will create. Most likely our roster will be about 120 people, with most of those being part-time positions. Let's see here. The interior build-out, as you can see, it's a little bit more modern. These are just some preliminary renderings, but the layout has not changed at all. We've invested $3.2 million in the actual building renovation with new HVAC, upgrading electrical, reinforcing some old wooden staircases, this and that. But then also with the actual interior build-out, which is happening right now. It's coming along pretty well. Couple of our partners are members of Rockford Construction, and so they've been our partners, and it's really nice to be able to use a local company to do all of this work. And yep, I'm thinking here. Anyway, I'm sorry. I guess, so we're expecting to have soft openings beginning in the beginning of September, hopefully have our CO by Labor Day, and then we're hoping to be fully open by the end of September. And a large trend is leagues during the winter. And that's definitely for more of the avid golfers. But if we don't get in by October, people are going to start revolting. So anyway.
Awesome.
So I try to keep that a little bit short, but I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Are there any questions? Sounds great.
Yeah. Can't wait.
All right.
Well, great. Well, thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Motion? Is there support?
I'll make the motion. Oh, yeah. Support.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Grand River Public Art Plan.
Oh, great. Thanks.
Good morning to you.
Morning.
Hello, hello.
So we are embarking on a new venture.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is a long title here, and we're working on that because it's a mouthful, and our advisory committee is like, I'm on the river art thing because it's a long-winded topic here. But basically, in GR Forward, it was always mentioned from the community that we need to create a river art master plan, and that encompasses creating a gallery throughout downtown. We are particularly focusing on the Grand River Greenway for this effort. This is a list of all of the other planning efforts, which you can see are a lot, that the city has undergone, Grand River Corridor Equity Framework. All of these plans and resources also reference the need for a public art plan for the city. So we are spearheading this initiative to continue to check off things off the GR Forward Master Plan, knowing that they need to get done. So our staff here, myself, Katie Moore, Catherine Zietzi, and Mark Miller are working on this effort and created a plan on how we're going to execute this and create a timeline. And we knew that we needed to obviously hire a consultant to help us get this effort done, and really focus on key areas like funding and specific sites that are currently under construction and or are going to be under construction in the near plan, to make sure that we have support for future funding and an actual cohesive art plan and strategy for the river corridor. So it's not just plopping random art pieces that don't go together, and make sure that it is representative of our community. So we knew that this is going to be a tough challenge to tackle, but we put together an advisory committee. Member Cam Dunn is part of that steering committee, among a laundry list of amazingly talented people we have in our community that are focused on public art with their expertise in various levels. So some of these local artists are Citizen Alliance members. We've worked with them. They're high-level artists that we have within our community, and more sculptural base, because that's what we're looking at as far as permanent installations. And we started gathering this group in February and met with them to determine our clear vision and goals. And these are the goals that the committee and staff had come up with that we were really charged with working towards for this effort. Advancing community's vision, cohesive identity and a sense of place, integrating existing artworks along the river corridor with new installations, supporting local artists, but also acknowledging national and the importance of international artists also, and interweaving them together. Promoting partnership and coordination and collaboration among our public landowners and our private landowners to ensure that this work is cohesive and our river corridor is cohesive. And a plan to secure adequate funding. So right now, the city and ourselves, we don't have a plan of how we're even maintaining the art that is currently out there. It usually just comes to the DDA and says, hey, we need this done, and like, can you fund it, you know? And we need to raise funds to be able to support this effort. And the city needs help with approving the art. Like right now, the Arts Advisory Council is focused on, is it political religious? Is it advertising? And that's even having a coffee cup on the outside of a coffee shop, which is a lot of stretch. So like there's, and then is there any nudity involved? So there's stuff like that they're the ones approving that to make sure that nothing is offensive to the general public, but there's no other clear guidelines on the type of art and the quality of art that needs to be had in the public realm and how long things are staying. So we need a clear vision for that. And then ongoing communication and promotion of awareness. In GR Forward, it talks about River Art Trail. And Marian from our staff, I have to give huge kudos to, because she has created a data map of all of the public art in downtown, whether it's funded through us or else, and she's organized all of that data, so thank you. That's basically the first lift, was that we were taking an inventory of all of the artwork that is currently within our corridor, and then also focusing on what's on the Grand River Greenway. We hosted some walking tours with our advisory committee to view all of the public artwork along the river and what we currently have, and then also set up private tours with Frederick Meyer Gardens and GVSU to show how it was done successfully and their properties, and talk about funding, how they obtain funding and how they secure artworks and solicit those types of work, and how they curate specifically. So it's been a lot of learning. We do have key priority sites. So obviously this recommendation that would come from the consultant is all covering basically from what we're proposing is Riverside Park to Millennium, but obviously that's out over the DDA district, of course, but we're focusing on these specific sites immediately because they're currently undergoing construction and or designing plans with our team and the city, but there's no plans within these sites of where the artwork is going to go and finding opportunity sites for what type of art can go there. So we need to integrate that into the plan beforehand rather than after, which is what we have currently been doing for the past 10 years since I've been here. Is we're adding art after rather than within and building within that. So we'll work towards that. This is the full scope of work that we're asking the future consultant to put together for us, and that's creating a curatorial vision and guiding principles, identifying and prioritizing sites for those immediate parks, and then future parks along and private along the corridor. Create a selection process and criteria of how we're soliciting and curating the art. Obviously, engagement and making sure that whatever art that the DDA pays for is representative of our community and it's what the community wants. So community tie-in. Learning existing city policies, which there's not a ton, but working with the city to make sure that we're going to align together, and in hopes that once this plan is done, it would come to you for final, recommendation and approval, and then after that, go to the city for approval. Also, the river network too for approval, and we're hoping that with their stamp to adopting this, we can create clear guidelines. And the city's already working with the Arts Collaborative and Collective to create a vision for the arts within the city of Grand Rapids, but that's not just the permanent built-in stuff, it's programming as well, and they're not quite there yet, so I'm a part of that conversation. I'm on the executive team for that, and we're working with them to make sure that we're coinciding and creating good dialogue and communication so that what we create here for the river corridor can be used as a template for the city moving forward. But what happens on the corridor is very different than what's going to happen in 49507 and other areas, correct? So, and then a plan of implementation for those clear those future years, those upcoming years, and those upcoming projects. And then also setting us up with successful funding tools. So it's not just coming to the DDA all the time for this support, but also being able to help fund and offset costs themselves. So we put the RFP out in, I think it was March and April. We had a really tight turnaround and timeline that our committee worked with. We had 17 applications or proposals that were submitted. Our team and the steering committee's subgroup selected and narrowed down to 3 companies, and then we did interviews with those companies, and the final recommendation is MIG, which is out of San Antonio. They have high expertise in not just curatorial art and placemaking, but also planning, which was absolutely key also. And one of the big things we really wanted to make sure that is communicated through this future plan is not just everyone within our community, but our indigenous population specifically. And in California, they team up regularly with the Cultural Planning Group, which is just an off-arm breach, which is their local indigenous community that focuses on placemaking, public art, communications, public outreach. So in their just proposal phase, they already had that collaborative, the planning group, reach out to Anishinaabe artists just to get an understanding of what it's like to be Anishinaabe, and which was a huge step already, I think, that really impressed us. So the proposal would be to move forward with MIG to help us with this plan. This is their proposal of what we would plan to tackle. Their first visit would be here next month, and they'll be doing community outreach at Return to the River, Art Prize, and of course World of Winter among digital. And then we're working with our steering committee to determine what else really needs to be done. But educating and letting people know what we're planning to do rather than necessarily like solicit a ton of feedback on what type of art people necessarily like, because art is so subjective, right? So, but we want to have a mix of a lot of things. So basically we would be done and have a full recommendation and plan back to you by April, May next year. And with that, we have an ask for you to move forward with the contract with MIG to start moving forward with this effort.
Questions? Yes, Mayor.
Yeah, thanks. I have, thank you for this presentation and work on this. I have 2 questions. One, I'm curious if there's been conversations with the group that does the legacy sculptures. The Secchia family leads that. I'm curious how that will be integrated in and part of the conversation.
Great question. After their first visit here with key stakeholders, like they'll meet with the Arts Collaborative, which have members from that committee, and discussing with or meeting with this team. They want to meet with you and the city manager during their first visit. They want to meet with key partners to be able to move this forward. And then their second visit, which would follow in September, would focus on like key focus groups, but they're like not like an open-ended focus group, but that it would be meeting with key funders, such as RDV, Secchia, like people that are already highly invested in supporting our public art efforts.
And then my second question, and I know I've talked to you about this before, I think our current structure with the Arts Advisory Committee is long overdue for change. Quite frankly, I don't think it's all that effective. Will this, I know that they're going to look at sustainable funding models, but are they also going to look at recommending a new governance model?
Yeah, I mean, depending what they've done this so many times. They are very experienced in what they do. A lot of them is, there's a lot of talk about this 1% that goes back to the arts, and a lot of communities do that. Doug Matthews talks about this on a regular as well. Yeah. So depending on what the recommendations are, but and I'm very eager personally to learn what they've set other communities up to do to help obtain funds for public art. It's not just like curating it and getting it here, but it's the maintenance of it, which is expensive. And we don't really have that right now. We just kind of put a Band-Aid on things. So I don't know fully right now, but we'll get through that with this process. And when they meet with you, I'm sure they'll have a lot of questions on policy-wise.
Okay. Thanks.
Also, yeah.
Yes, Al.
Yeah, to the mayor's point, I would suggest maybe we direct them to look at governance a little, because I'm thinking, when I think of the issues involving arts and culture, it goes beyond Grand Rapids, and it may be time to take a look at whether or not it should be a countywide or even greater approach.
Yeah, that is something that Doug Matthews and the city manager have been working on with the Arts Collaborative and Collective, and they are working towards that. Right now, we've got a big cast call to find out like how much funding for the arts is within our community. So they're at the very beginning, and we're only focusing on the Greenway specifically for this, and like attached infrastructure and built-in infrastructure. But yes, there does need to be an overall cultural programming plan with art in general for the city and county-wide. And as I understand it, it's the city's hopes that the Arts Collective would be able to take on that in the future. But right now, it's they're growing. It's a little bit of a miss. So we're kind of like leading the charge, and we're making sure that they're with us along the way and fully included on this so they can also learn. But yeah, they're at the beginning and they need funding too.
So, to your point, I think keeping this sort of on the agenda of the Greenway Network would be a good idea, so that we're a broader scope of how this could incorporate. I was trying to read the names, but do we have all the museums represented locally?
Not all of the museums, like not Presidential Museum, or we'll get them in like our focus group.
Okay. Is the Graham on
The
there?
Graham is here.
Okay,
And Meyer Gardens.
gotcha, okay. Yeah, that I saw, thank you.
And the county. I'm glad
Okay.
Josh is on there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great.
And we're talking about, talk about adding like someone from engineering specifically to be on here to talk about this. So this was our group that we got on very quickly, and we're learning even from the consultant of additional spots of key people that would be a good people to add to this steering committee. So we'll be adding to that list also.
Any other questions? Yes?
This might be following up on the previous question on governance, but who would be the owner of the art or the assets?
Well, right now, I mean, it's all up for grabs, right? Like everyone owns different pieces. Like some artists may put a piece down, and they own it, but it's on city property, so they might have an MOU. But then the city owns a lot of public art, and they're working on that inventory. I know that they put together a list, and they're working on that as well. But also like how they obtain the art. A lot of it's donated. It's not really purchased from the city usually. So how are we accepting donations? Like it's been kind of like, we'll take whatever, but do we want it all? You know, like, so that's a thing too that we have to work with them on. But, and we own art too. So it's
very patchwork. I think that's part of the point of all this, is just to create a process, both for ownership, maintenance, also just for governance. So we're hoping that this process will help to sort of illuminate a path forward and give us recommendations for how to do it better.
Yes, thank you, Tim.
And some of the art, part of the process of the inventory is also to get it basically appraised. And
Yes.
it's kind of remarkable, some of the art that has been given to the city and how valuable it is today. And which, again, it's incumbent on us to take care of those pieces that are, some of them are really unbelievably valuable. So I think that is part of the conversation as well. And I've talked to Doug and Mark about that as well.
With this question, not presupposing that the DDA should be the owner, because ownership of art assets is different than our traditional asset class. But as our traditional asset class is diminishing, it's just an interesting question in terms of replenishing an asset base for the DDA's future lending and borrowing purposes. So it's just an open question.
Yeah, good point.
Something to think about.
Anything else? So the contract's for 112-ish, right? Did I read it right?
We put in a buffer for contingency for 50,000 as we're defining the scope. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we do have a we have like a bridge contract right now with them just to get them started on what we've been working on this month. So it won't be 150, but basically we want to put in a placeholder in case we want more community outreach and more visits with them also. So we kind of wanted just a buffer in there as a saving our butts.
And I think, as we've seen this morning, we know there's a lot of questions in this that we might want to answer that we didn't know going into the RFQ, RFP. So this will give us a little bit of space to have those discussions and grow the scope if we think it's necessary.
Thank you, Tim.
Anything else? All right. Thank you. All right. Any other questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you. Motion carries.
All right, I'm 6 months to World of Winter. And I'm ahead of planning this year, which cha-ching, I'm super happy about. But we wanted to do a recap with you of how last year went. And it was probably the most challenging year yet of World of Winter, but it was super successful. So wanted to show a video, but I'll let Bill kind of give a little update on this.
Thank you, members. Just want to give you a quick preface to this video because you will see that it is 4 minutes long, and we are keenly aware that the internet time span for people's attention is much less than 4 minutes. The reason for this, we went to the International Downtown Association conference last fall and saw a lot of wonderful videos from a lot of communities that were very visually striking and had great music in the background, but we started to notice that all these videos were kind of the same format. So one of our goals with this year was to have a little bit more of a narrative about World of Winter, to describe the experience more from both the artist standpoint, the team standpoint, business owners as well. So we'll show you this, but rest assured we are going to be cutting some 30, 60, 90-second versions as well. So enjoy.
¿Qué pasa, mi gente? Aquí estamos con World of Winter.
There's something special about winter in Grand Rapids. It's not just the glow from the lights of the Blue Bridge or the art and murals all over downtown. It's the energy you feel from our community coming together, finding warmth in the chill of the season. This festival is a reminder of the beauty in our everyday lives, in our city, in each other. Makes us appreciate the magic we have with Grand Rapids, with winter, and with the true special moments in life.
If there wasn't the World of Winter Festival, it would be so cold and so miserable. It gets dark at 5 o'clock. Like, we Midwesterners like to boast how strong we are for being in the winter, but I think World of Winter makes it that much brighter and much more bearable.
It's amazing that World of Winter is now the largest winter festival in North America. That really helps put Grand Rapids on the map.
Una idea magnífica porque si no al final la gente se queda en casa y como que entra un poco en estado de depresión casi, ¿no? De estar siempre en casa porque hace frío y creo que animarte a salir y a interactuar con otra gente y con arte y con la comunidad es muy importante.
Honestly, the set and setting is unlike any place I've really gotten the opportunity to play before. Being on the riverbank and, you know, yeah, on this hillside, I'm surrounded by all these beautiful people and, you know, art going on.
It's shockingly cool to be free for everyone. I mean, there's just so much amazing art installations and activities for the family and for DJs and just so much cool stuff happening all the time.
It's all about like placemaking, placekeeping, and really what that focuses on is making memories and a connection with your downtown.
I think we always strive to continue to make it as inclusive and diverse as possible. We want to be bringing events and activities and programming that is going to be for everybody, that somebody can come down and they can find something, that they will make those memories, have fun with their friends, and maybe meet new people.
It being now the largest festival in the U.S., one is just a real credit to our team, and two, a real credit to the Grand Rapids community and everybody that comes to show that we care about this stuff. You know, when you see it over 2 months and you see all these different events and you see all this amazing artwork, it really encapsulates like everything we do here, or everything we're striving to do.
I think this is a real opportunity for Grand Rapids to embrace winter and just roll with it and have fun and get out and enjoy it in a new way.
It's a wrap on another World of Winter Festival. Grand Rapids shines every season. Thank you to everyone who made this event possible this year. World of Winter will return in 2025. Until then, keep showing love wherever we go.
So that's our recap. But wanted to show, and we do this every year with you. Last year we had 4.5 million visitors. This is 4.8 million visitors that we can count through Placer AI. We know that number is much larger than that with data turned off on cell phones and kids and all of that, but that's a very safe number, and that's a lot of people in a 2-month time span within our downtown. So really exciting this year for 2025, we received the most proposals for our RFP. We have 115 that we received this year for this coming, which is great. You can always see the numbers flex from events to installations each year, and it seems like we're focusing more on installations for grants rather than event grants, even though we're doing a ton of events. ICE, 81 sculptures, that was probably one of the most challenging things this year was our weather, which I'll get to. And as you can see, the trajectory of the grants given, we continue to give more and more grants to local artists and placemakers and event organizers every single year. And then diversity and inclusion efforts too also within those grants. This is just quick highlights of some of the events that we had. I just wanted to talk about Great Lakes Snow Snake Competition. Our chief and chairman, Ron, we had no snow this year, which was interesting. He's like, I'll figure this out. So in his ingenuity, he created a new way to have snow snake competition that has never been done before from our native culture. And now we have, Gun Lake Tribe hosts a snow snake competition, and they canceled theirs. And Ron continued, he's like, no, we're going to figure this out. And it actually worked really, really well, if not better than the snow. So now then the Gun Lake Tribe's like, oh, how did you rig that up? Like, they want to figure out, just because our weather affects the things that we had planned doesn't mean we need to stop. We just need to pivot. So wanted to give him a shout out. And these are a couple of our other regular events that we have going on. New this year, we did a Mardi Gras parade for Fat Tuesday. Valentine's was a huge challenge because it was 70 degrees. So that was tough. Also this year, we did sound baths, which I personally, this is like a personal thing that I love sound baths, and I think they're really therapeutic. So I wanted to try to do this, and I thought like maybe 25 people would show up, and we had over 100 people show up for each one we did, which was amazing to see. It was really powerful. And then also, Pia from our team, who is our event coordinator now, did her first event ever, and she did the Lantern Parade, which we got canceled because we had a huge snowstorm the very first weekend. That was supposed to be our opening weekend, and we got a blizzard. So we ended up doing it as an ending cap of our festival, which was super fun. So this is courtesy of Marion on our activity and daily average, showing from years past. This is daily, additional daily activity. And then I asked her to specifically show weather with our daily attendance. So first weekend we got a blizzard, right? Then we had straight rain for a week. Then we had flooding, which I've never had flooding happen in February ever here. Then we had another week of rain, and then we had really high temperatures, and then it got to normal. So even through all that, we still were able to bring in more people than last year. So weather really threw our team a lot of curveballs, but in the long run, we still came out singing. So pass Bill the next.
So what you're seeing here is our Placer data from our major events. A couple of notes here. You'll see the asterisk there about Calder Plaza. So Placer, in order to count via cell phone geolocation, they have to follow obviously certain regulations. There have been some new challenges around areas that are adjacent to government buildings. So our Calder counts are not probably completely accurate. We continue to work with them on trying to figure out a solution for that. But just to give you some context, in addition to government buildings, there's also restrictions around schools, medical institutions, et cetera, all related to privacy. So just a grain of salt there. Demographically, pretty similar to last year. We do want to continue to increase attendance from non-white attendees. We did some marketing efforts this year with different influencers and different outlets to try to increase that. So we'll try to grow those numbers next year. But in general, good comparison to 23, especially with all the weather challenges that Kim mentioned. I think we learned that if we put on good events and bring good art, that, folks will brave the weather. I'll blow through these pretty quick because Kim has some great proposals to show you, but wanted to just give you a quick breakdown of some of our digital reach via the website and our social channels. So as we expect every year, there's a pretty big spike on website visits near the beginning of the festival. We are very mobile first, as you can see here, so we always take that into account as we're reconfiguring the website year to year. One thing that we're pretty pleased about this year is direct visits. So we do a lot of digital advertising, you'll probably recall from some of the presentations last year, that are search-related, sponsored ads on social channels, et cetera. But to see people going directly to the website is an indication that the awareness is high and that people know it's a good repository for all your schedules, different information about the artwork. Kudos to Nancy on our team for reconfiguring the website this year to make it much more user-friendly, especially from a calendar perspective. For video views and engagement, obviously we try to lean really heavily on video across all of our social channels. I won't bore you with the details here. These are the analytics we look at on the back end for video viewership. But a couple of stats to draw your attention to. Really across the board, we saw increases year over year with the exception of reactions, which is okay. What we're really happy about seeing is the impressions number, engagements. That means, folks are either commenting or sharing, as you'll see down there we go, shares. So that's really the goal when we put any video content up, is to get people to not only view it, but to share it and then actually, get it around to more people's channels and on more people's in more people's eyes. Again, credit to Nancy and our team for starting a new Instagram channel this year specifically for World of Winter. What we found last year is that we have so much content that is World of Winter related that it kind of gums up the works on our regular channels. So we wanted to separate that out. So getting up to 6,000 followers in just a few months is a real achievement for this channel. We expect that to grow. One thing we like to see from a reach perspective is that we're hitting a lot of non-followers as well. So that indicates both on the engagement and the reach end that the numbers will grow for that channel. So this will continue to be kind of the source for non-website users to really get information about the festival going forward. Turn it back to Kim. Oh, any questions on any of that, happy to answer as well.
Yeah, so basically this is, if you're interested in sponsoring the next World of Winter, let me know. But so save the date for January 10th through March 2nd, and we'll be back at you with some new installations that I'll be asking you to fund next. Any questions on last year's recap or anything like that? Okay, great. I will jump right into it. So before you today is a proposal on what we're planning to do for World of Winter for large-scale traveling installations. Last year we brought in 6. This year I'm bringing in 10 to propose, and so another big jump in numbers. I also usually come to you 2 times for funding, one for the installs and then the projection, and I'm ahead of myself this year, which I'm super proud of myself on. So I'm actually here just 1 time asking you for a lump sum. So with that, the first installation we have is called Bonfire by 27 June Studio. They're out of Thailand. We've never worked with them before. I'm really excited. I got to meet them when I was in Australia, when they were there for Vivid. So this is a brand new installation. It will debut at our festival, and it's interactive to where you, all the people get around these tubes and you talk into it, and then each one lights up the fire. So it's about like community gathering around a fire and having a conversation. So this is still in concept, but wanted to be able to show you like how it actually kind of works. So this is just a visual of how it would work when they do talk into the installation. And this would be here for the full duration of the festival and would go over at 555, and we're talking about adding seating around it, so it's kind of like campfire-esque, and then also including programming, of course. Next is Chrono Harp from our friends from Amigo and Amigo. They're out of Australia. We've worked with them multiple times, super professional and insanely creative. This would also be here the full 7 weeks. And this one would be proposed to be on top of Calder Plaza. It's a very large scale installation, much like Dandelion was last year. So really cool programming around it, but this is kind of how it works. So you play with the harps on the side and you can create your own music, but then it does a light show every 20 minutes as well. That one, just to give you a little taste. Next, also by Amigo and Amigo, is Slovecchio Songbird, and these are much like the frogs we had last year, where they're interactive and they chirp back to you. These would be going at Anabuin Park, and there's 8 of these. Each one is different. They teamed up with artists out of Ukraine, and these are all Ukrainian artist artwork that they encompass on the installations, which I thought was really great with, supporting Ukrainian artists with what's going on in the world too. So this is showing you just a snippet of some of them. They're in different sizes, and again, all of them are different artworks. Okay, so you get the point of that. This is a list of all of them that we would be receiving, and these would also be here for the full duration of World of Winter. Next, we have The Hive, which is from Beam Hacker Design. They're also out of Australia. I got to meet them when I was there also. And this would be going on the stage at Anabuin Park. And then next is Waves from Juan Fuentes Studio. I also met him when I was in Australia. He's from Spain. And this one, we're teaming up new this year with the Presidential Museum. They wanted to get more involved with World of Winter, which we're really excited about. So this would be going on their main entrance plaza. And this is supposed to mimic waves in the water, so it moves on a grid, and it's pretty pretty trippy, actually, like when you're sitting there watching it. And also from Juan is kinetic perspective that we are proposing to go across the Blue Bridge. Maybe. Yeah, there we go. Next is Space Swings, and this is a concept rendering. This would be the first time this would ever be in, so it would debut at World Winter. This is from Chalk River Labs, and we teamed up with them last year. He is a Canadian artist living in Australia, and this would be going on the Studio Park Piazza. Also new, working with them and putting a large-scale installation over there. Usually we do Activate grants, and we're planning to do that with them as well, but wanted to curate the space a little differently this year. So this is just a concept rendering. Music would be different, but basically you can leave the swings on for people to get on and off of, but you can also unattach them as well, and you can host like programming DJs and performances within it too, if you would like. And then this one I'm beyond excited about. This is a huge success story, and kudos to Katie Moore from our team, working with Two Eagles Marcus. So Two Eagles came to us a couple years ago and started off as an Activate grant, and this dude is insanely talented, and now he's working at a large-scale installation on a high level. So this is a perfect example of a success story of that program that Katie manages. This is called Alarum, which means eagle in Latin, and it's their eagle wings, which is in a very like geometric shape. He is also a musician, so he'll create music, custom music that will go along with this, but it will do a show. And this is just a concept rendering of roughly how it will light up and look. And then next, we are proposing to bring back Seasonal Wonders now that Lion Square will be completed. Yay! So we created that program in, I think it was 2021, 2020, so pandemic era, and we were able to do it because there were no shows at DeVos Place, and now that there are, we can't host the installation, and we had to bring out all of the projection, and we're hoping to have the permanent infrastructure built in, so we'll be able to do these shows on a regular basis. So we'd like to bring back Seasonal Wonders this year and show it nightly, a couple times a night. And then this is just like a quick little, maybe not so quick, but this is just showing you what it was for a reference if you guys don't remember. But basically highlighting all of the seasons of Michigan, and a little bit of local history also onto the Civic Auditorium. And then last but not least, I am proposing to bring in a drone show. First time ever. It's a smaller scale drone show. It's about 200 to 250 drones. And we will be creating a custom show with Sky Elements that will coincide with music. So they would launch out of Fish Ladder Park, and then we'll host like a party event and viewing at 555. So we'll be working with Sky Elements, our team, and also Two Eagles from Citizen Alliance would like to be involved in this also, so working with another local artist to help program the space. And if you aren't familiar with drone shows, so this is a longer video, but it gives you an idea of kind of their work, and I don't think I can skip. Unfortunately, I can't skip through. But, so before you today is an ask not to exceed $400,000 to be able to support all of these works and installations for World of Winter and our curation efforts. So there they go. Yeah, I'm really excited to do something totally new, so. Yeah, happy to answer any questions.
No questions? All right. Looks amazing. We do need a motion to approve.
So moved.
All right. Any other comments? All right. Yes.
Just a quick comment too. I mean, this is such an amazing program. Continues to go great. Just to encourage maybe considering a economic analysis at some point. I suspect it's a 20x on the ROI. It'd be great to dial in on that and be able to have that as a defensive sort of talking point for planning purposes. And then also to encourage your team to be flexible this year. So 2024 is the apex of a solar cycle. For those who aren't weather nerds, that means the amount of energy coming from the sun is at a peak in a 20-year high. The next couple will still be warm winters, but we're getting back to cold winter in a couple of years. So anyways, just this year could still be a wild card.
I might have to text you later for some behind-the-scenes education. Thank you for that.
I didn't know that was your other job. No. Meteorologist over there.
I sell a lot of ice fishing stuff in my day job, and it's not been a good year for that the last couple of years.
I'll just comment too. I love seeing the growth over the years. Your team is amazing. This past winter, I felt like every time I was walking around downtown, the number of families and children, it was awesome. Even with the weather. I know the weather was tricky, and watching the ice sculptures melt within an hour of being put up broke my heart, but it was still pretty awesome.
We're definitely changing that program this year. So.
Yeah, it was great.
We're learning as we go.
Yeah.
Acrylic. We use acrylic sculptures.
I mean, first it was learning you can't play with snow, and that wasn't consistent, so I moved to ice. Well, now that's not consistent, so here we go. I gotta find something else. Acrylic might be the right thing to do.
Well,
it's awesome.
You can reference Member McNeely in the
right.
future.
That's right.
So, anything else? All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, good luck.
Thanks so much.
No more
guys.
winter talk.
Thank you.
Right. The tropical storm out there.
I was going to say, it's a good day for it.
All right, next, early childhood presentation. You want to key this up?
Can you hand that over to them? Yeah, I'll tee this up real quick. We have some guests from Kellogg Foundation and YMCA. So just want to make you aware of some efforts that they have going on to provide more accessible childcare in Grand Rapids and in downtown. It's obviously been a big topic of conversation over the past several years, and so we wanted to bring this to you so you're aware of what they're working on. So Tracy Kaufman from Kellogg Foundation and Scott Lewis from the YMCA are here to kind of walk us through it.
All right, good morning. Thank you so much. Happy to be here and happy to talk to you about this project. It has been 2.5 years, I know explicitly, because I remember the exact board meeting I was sitting in when the CEO, Deb Prado, announced that this space was going to come up for public use. And it had been a long time conversation back when I was working at the ENTF that wouldn't it be a pipe dream if someday a child care center could be housed in this space. So Scott and I are very excited to be partnering together with some amazing other organizations to make this a reality, and we are super close and wanted to share this with you. So just as some background and context setting, we have a severe early childhood crisis happening in our country that is also impacting us here. So the Kellogg Foundation funded a study through IFF that was released last fall showing that Kent County has a 20,000 seat gap right now in need for early childhood slots. 18,000 of those are from 0 to 2. We have just a huge gap in infant toddler. The city of Grand Rapids alone is over a third of that need. So over 7,000 of the slots are needed in just Grand Rapids. Transportation, we know from parents and families talking to them and surveying them that transportation remains a main barrier to accessing childcare, but also employment. Those two are intricately linked to each other. We need a good transit system, but we also need childcare if we want our families to be able to access employment. So Rapid Central Station is, again, in that study that we had done, not only did we look at the slots, but we looked at the neighborhoods and the areas within Kent County that are highest in need. This area and this neighborhood that the Rapid Central Station is located in was identified as one of the top 5 communities and neighborhoods that is in need of additional early childhood slots. In addition, I'm not for sure people are aware, but this station is not what you typically picture as a bus station. This is a beautiful building. It was the first LEED certified bus station in the country, built 20 years ago. And I'm sad to say that the space that we're going to be taking up has been sitting empty for 20 years. So really what this is this is an opportunity for us to really catalyze on this beautiful public building and keep it for a public good, and really turn it into a space that is alive for community and not just a space that people pass through, because that's what it is right now. People, you are only in that space if you are there to use the transit system, and we want to revitalize this and really turn it into a community hub where people are coming to it for a multitude of reasons, but childcare will be the main one. This neighborhood is also rapidly changing. As many of you know, there's a little project going on about a block away, an amphitheater that's going to be put in. So the fact that we have the ability to partner with the Rapid on prime real estate, where the Rapid is going to be allowing us to utilize this at cost. They're giving it to us for utilities only, which, if you're aware, part of the crisis in childcare is that you can't make performers work. They just cannot charge enough to parents to really make it work out. So for the Rapid to be willing to have such a beneficial public-private partnership with us is hugely beneficial for this project, for the community, and for families. So just to give you an idea on where this is, we've got, where's my pointer? Rapid Central Station, which is right here, but also a lot of major employers in the downtown area. So we've got the health systems, Corewell and Trinity. You've got the 2 major universities, GRCC and Grand Valley, all located within those districts. Not to mention the fact that the way our system is designed, so many of our lines converge on Central Station. So for a family right now to be able to access childcare, you may have to catch the bus, go to Central Station, change buses, go to your childcare center, come back to Central Station, change buses, and get to employment. What this would now allow you to do is come to Central Station, drop your child off, and have one change and go to your job. This is the building, in case people aren't familiar. And keep this visual in mind when you, in a couple of minutes, because Scott's going to show you some beautiful renderings on what this is going to look like very soon, especially this space, which is my favorite. It's going to be a playground. And the partners. The other thing that makes this unique is not just its location. So this would be the first child care center that we're aware of, located at a federal transit building in the country. In addition to that, the other thing that makes this super unique is that it's not being run by one entity. The Y is definitely taking a lead role, but this is still a collaborative of multiple entities coming together to make this work. So one, the Rapid itself, obviously, is a key partner, but the YMCA, Grand Rapids Public Schools, and Head Start of Kent County are all providing slots because, again, the crisis of childcare is not just missing slots, it's how do we make the performas work so that we can keep these programs open and operating. And that means we need a diverse funding stream and a diverse source for families to access care. So bringing these three partners together is a unique test model for us on how can we try to bridge and mix some of these streams together. So this will be what we're looking at. This will be a 100-slot center. 60 will be preschool, and then the 40 will be that infant toddler. So it'll be a 60-40 split is what we're looking at. 8 classrooms, 2 playgrounds, 1 on the ground level, 1 on the rooftop, an indoor gross motor space because while winters may be mild here, we still do have winter, and kids can't be outside all the time, but still need space to run and release some energy. And in addition to that, we will have a health room. Like I said, we want to turn this into a really activated community space, but also where families can receive a multitude of services and care. So we'll have a health room on site, not to mention the Rapid has a 3,000 square foot multi-purpose room that we use for board meetings, but not much else, which is also a space that would be available for the center to use for parent meetings, community engagement, and all sorts of other things. And now I'll let Scott get the fun job of showing you the photos.
Yeah, so the renderings are always the best, but when you look at the Rapid right now, when you look at Central Station, there is another public art sculpture right in front where this playground will be. That will be relocated, and so we're looking right now in partnership with the Rapid to put that on the platform in the back of the center where all the buses do arrive, so it will not be going away. But that going away gives us the opportunity to create a ground level playground for the youngest of kids, our infants and toddlers. This is actually going to be just a little bit above ground or grade interior of the new wall that would be constructed. That is a 10-foot wall, so it does give protection from our passersby. And then there is a clear, you can kind of see it there, clear critic that goes over the top as well, so allows light to come in, let the kids see out just a little, but again, giving a much higher barrier for folks on the street. And to go through the space itself, starting with the lower level, this is the platform level. Again, you'll see in another slide here, but if you know the topography, the building sits on a hill. So the first level, the platform level, is actually below grade from the front of the building. So your entrance from the platform is really through this door, and right now the ticket booth is right there at the corner, and that is being moved by the Rapid so that this plan can take place. That gross motors space that Tracy just mentioned will be in this space. Basically, the old a cafeteria, a restaurant that was in place for a number of years is that space in the back here. So this is a glass wall that has just been boarded up for a very long time. Ultimately now will give transparency, but not clear. As we're looking at having a film there, we want the kids to be seen by shadow, not necessarily by face, but it allows that light to go into that space. You'll also notice, and you'll see this throughout every floor, we're creating an interior staircase. And so the center will be locked behind closed doors, and the traversing of all levels will go through that staircase behind the door. This is a rendering of that space, again, giving that light through the glass that is already existing, but giving privacy to the kids and to the staff that will be taking care of them. Really taking a good look at the space as it is and using that design. It's a modern feeling building. There's a lot of glass and steel, and so not trying to cover the ceilings, really giving an open feel. When we look at the main level, so this is, again, just a few feet above grade coming in the front of the building. So the main entrance, as you'd see it out of that picture, was here with the lower level playground. We'll have 4 classrooms, really 3 classrooms and a bonus space. Right now, the plan is to have all of the kids and families come in through a shared lobby. And so that would be for YMCA programs as well as GRPS programs. The YMCA will be operating the Head Start programs on behalf of Head Start. But ultimately, the goal is to have one entry point so folks always come in, they feel like it's their center regardless of what program they're in. And we want to create community that way. We'll have a small meeting room for parents and staff conferences, and then obviously all of the interior of the space is connected again by that staircase. Here's a quick rendering of the lobby space, again trying to utilize a lot of that theming, bringing in the softer colors, making it feel a little natural with the greens, but ultimately trying to keep that modern feel of the building. And speaking of the grade, as you can see, this is the side of the building looking north, and so there is an emergency exit that is required of us to build. So this was something that we're in discussion right now with Laura. This is obviously a reuse of space, and so there's a lot more detail to go into review. So this is a process that we think is going to take a few more months. But ultimately, when we get approval, we think we are on the right path with the layout and certainly want to make sure that we have easy egress. And then the upper level. Again, here are the remainder of the classrooms, some more staff space, but ultimately the best part is these classrooms will be the older kids that have direct access to a rooftop playground. As far as we know, the only other rooftop playground that has been approved in recent times is our YMCA here in downtown. So this is also a variation to code for Laura. So again, something that we're working through, making sure that we get everything right. But as you'll see, these renderings really show that we've got a lot of light coming into this building, as well as having great play space or open span, and so the kids will have a great learning environment. And that rooftop playground, as Tracy said, this is our favorite shot. Really, you'll be able to see this playground from 131, going both ways. The kids, again, have a 10-foot high fence. So it's a non-climbable fence. We've actually worked with a playground consultant. It is a non-climbable fence. I think that if we as adults could try to climb it, you have to have great upper body strength because the holes are less than an inch. So there's really no way to get a foothold in there. And we obviously know that kids are not as strong upper body at that age. But with that said, we also have a 10-foot barrier around the fence, so we're not right on the edge of the building. But this really will give the kids a great view of the city, have great imagination, be able to play, and again, having a separate space for the older kids and the younger kids so that the equipment is age appropriate. And that's just an amazing kind of concept view, as almost a little higher than you'd see it from 131, but realizing that coming right out of the building onto this currently green roof will allow these kids to have a great play experience. We are working with different types of shade structures, and so the lattice is just one idea. We are looking at possibly a sail structure like is existing with the Rapid, because we do know that we want to have shade on the structure as well. So a lot going on in design still, working with Laura through the licensing process, but we do hope to get into construction next year.
So just a little on where we are in the timeline. So we are currently in the capital and fundraising stage. We are under 700,000 though, which from where we started with this is a $7.2 million project without removing a single load-bearing wall, which completely blew my mind on construction costs. Scott has, for 2.5 years, been telling me to expect higher, expect higher. But the Kellogg Foundation is the lead gift. We're actually at 3.8 at this point for this project, but we have so many partners who have come in on this project. Doug and Maria DeVos just committed $1 million about a month ago. That's amazing. We have so many other foundations that have come into play in corporate gifts. So we are under $700,000, which is really the finish line, but we still need to hit it before we can break ground. That's what's also unique about this project, is with it being a collaborative and nobody owning this building, because the Rapid cannot have any debt on this building or give up any kind of ownership. We have always had an agreement with the partners that we would not put a shovel in the ground until we were 100% raised, which is different than a majority of capital projects you see. They would already have shovels in the ground at this point. So that has put added pressure on to us, but we feel really good about where we are and hitting these final numbers. And like Scott said, we really hope that we will be breaking ground still this year so that we can be open next fall. And the other thing about this that I just want to highlight is that, again, not only it being a community hub and it being unique with its partners, but with these partners, they are working on things that have never been done before. So you have 3 different programs with the YMCA, Grand Rapids Public Schools, and Head Start, and they are creating one application for families on the front end, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but I will tell you is a very complicated big deal for families to only have to fill out one application and everything else to be figured out in the back end. The other thing that we realized is that this space is also a space where every day during the school year at about 2:30, 3 o'clock, gets filled with teenagers. This is the public bus system, is what Grand Rapids Public High School uses as their transportation system. So every day this is a space that is filled with teenagers, and these are opportunities for us to also have conversations about careers. So any of those kids who are coming in at the age of 18, they could potentially get a part-time job at this center and begin earning credit at GRCC towards an early childhood certificate. In addition to that, we've got conversations with the YMCA and GRPS about what does it look like to create a pathway for teachers right now. Teacher recruitment, development, and retainment are part of the early childhood crisis. So how do you create a pathway that's intentional and supportive where they can start out at the YMCA as a teacher, but then maybe work their way up to a Great Start Readiness teacher with GRPS or with the YMCA, earning those credentials and those certificates, and also higher pay. So a lot of innovative things, and that's really what we see this from the Kellogg Foundation. Early childhood is really one of our main focuses, and we want to see this as a center of innovation. So how do we test things here, see how they can work, and then be able to put them out as models across the community, across the state, to be replicated? Happy to take any questions.
Any questions? Just what comes to mind is, how will the parents, is this free childcare to parents, or?
It's not, no.
Unfortunately, no. No, but our goal is to make sure that we have a sliding scale for all parents. So again, the YMCA will take the lead on processing applications. Obviously, there are income barriers or income levels that really get you to point to have state subsidy, as well as additional subsidies that we can fundraise for. And so we have state navigators, if you will, so that as parents come into the system and don't understand how to get the state funding, our staff work with them hand in hand to make sure that they can get all the funding they need. And we do also raise funds to also offset that on top of the state funding.
Yeah, I do think that you could engage employers as well to help with funding, because it's a big need.
Absolutely.
For us employers.
Absolutely.
Right.
You know, and then you have the Head Start on the other side, which is fully funded, right? So there's a blend there already. We have Tri-Share. There's a lot to think about in funding. The model still needs work. But obviously, we want to pay teachers more. Just here at the YMCA, we've upped our teachers' salaries 5 times in the last 4 years. But that puts a pressure on the operations, right? Because now we're trying to keep the payment down for parents. That model doesn't work well, right? So there has to be some more conversation about how do we provide more funding for childcare.
Great. Anything else, Mayor?
Yeah, I just want to say, A couple things. One, I want to give a huge shout out to Tracy. Without her leadership, I'm so glad you serve on the Rapid board with me. So does Andy Guy, by the way. We've been talking about this for years, but ultimately it was Tracy's idea. And then she has led the charge of helping bring partners to the table, kind of push the Rapid to think differently about this space, work with all of the approval bodies, and then lead the funding campaign. So I just want to say thank you for your work on this. Truly, we would not be where we are today without her. So thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. That's very kind, very generous. This has definitely been a team effort for 2.5 years, so I appreciate that. And I'll just add on to Scott's point too. We do expect the center to be about 25 of the 100 slots to be full pay, full private pay, just to give us that blend of subsidy and private pay to help balance out the pro forma.
Anything else?
Maybe just two more things to close out. One, if you know any other employers or folks that might be interested in helping to close the gap, by all means, direct them either to us or to Tracy and Scott. And then we're looking, no ask for you all this morning, but to see what eligible activities might exist for the DDA to be involved. We obviously have some statutory limitations, but given the importance of the project, we're hoping to be able to support at some point.
Amen. Congrats. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you both.
So, Mr. Kelly, you've given us permission to skip your executive.
Yes, we gave you a lot this morning, and it is after 10 a.m., so we can forego my remarks, and we'll make sure to update you on anything that you need to know about.
So then next would be public comment. If there's anyone in the public that would like to step forward, please do so now. All right, seeing none, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Tim, can I give you some?